या देवी स्तूयते नित्यं विबुधैर्वेदपारकैः सा मे वसति जिह्वाग्रे ब्रह्मरूपा सरस्वती। नमामि नारायणपादपङ्कजं करोमि नारायणपूजनं सदा वदामि नारायणनामनिर्मलं स्मरामि नारायणतत्त्वमव्ययम्। अपारकरुणासिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तमूर्तिनं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरेन्द्रगुरुं नमामि मुदान्वहम्. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Vairappan, Mahapriyava, and other Guru Parampara. We are now on Desagam 20, completed verse number 8. Before moving to verse number 9, I thought it would be proper to deal with the episode of Bharata Yogeshwara. In verse number 6, Bharata Virad made a mention that the Lord Rishabha Yogeshwara had 100 sons. The eldest was the Bharata, the king, after whom it is named as Bharata Varsha. However, there is no further mention about the episode of Jada Bharata or the Bharata Yogeshwara in Narayaniyam. Since it is a very, very important episode which is having a deep Vedantic impact, I thought it would be prudent to cover this. It is covered in Bhagavatam, in Dasakam, in Skandam 5, in chapters 7 to 14. Briefly, we will summarize the episode of Bharata Yogeshwara in this and next session. Although it is named as Jada Bharata, it is more appropriate to call him as Bharata Yogeshwara because he is a yogi and also an Ishwara because of that. The story starts like this, that the king Bharata in his old age gave over his kingdom to his sons and retired in the forest. As a ruler, he led a royal life, lived in marble palaces and millions of subjects under him. When he took up the Vanaprastha, he built a little cottage with his own hands made of reeds and grass on the banks of a river in the Himalaya forest. He lived in roots and wild herbs collected by his own hand and led a contemplative life, meditating on the Lord or the absolute reality or Paramatman. One day, a deer came to drink water nearby where the sage Bharata was meditating. The deer heard the roar of the lion at a little distance off and was frightened. Without quenching its thirst, the deer made a big jump to cross the river, and in the process, a little fawn, child deer, came out, and immediately after that, the deer was dead, fell dead. The little deer or the fawn fell into the water and was being carried rapidly away by the foaming stream. This caught the eyes of King Bharata, who came out of his meditation and rescued the fawn or the little deer from the water, took it to his cottage, made a fire, and fondled the little fawn back to life. The small deer thereafter, under the supervision, the paternal care of Sage, grew into a beautiful deer. Sage, who had a strong mind and had renounced the kingdom, now paradoxically got attached to the deer. This is how the Indriyas take over the Buddhi that is being talked about here. It is easy to fall prey to the senses. Even Bharata, after contemplative life, had succumbed to this. It's only a story to depict how we should be careful. The progress on the path of spiritualism is like walking on a razor's edge. So, and as he became fonder and fonder to the deer, the farther and farther, he moved away from the Lord. Inasmuch as that he found that the deer was most dear to him than even the Lord. So when the deer was late in returning to the cottage, The sage got worried about the deer and could not concentrate on the Lord during meditation. Years passed, and when death came, the royal sage laid himself down to die. But his mind was thinking about the deer, which was more dear to him than the self or absolute reality or the Lord. So thinking of deer, sadly he departed from this body, and as a result, in the next birth, he was born as a deer. Bharata was born as a deer. This reminds us of the sloka in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 8, verse number 6, where the Lord says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhabam tyajyat ante kalebaram tam tameva eti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. It's a very important verse where he says, whatever the object a person thinks at the time of death, having been absorbed in its thought all through, he attains to that object alone. That's why we say, Yat bhavam tad bhavati. So the Bharata thought of deer, and at the time of his death, and in the next birth, he took birth as a deer. That's why Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita, then tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anuspara yudhyacha. This was the advice given to Arjuna, saying that all the time think of me alone. And yudhyacha is, yudhyacha means, here what Shankara says, do your swadharma. In the case of Arjuna, it was fighting because being a Kshatriya. So doing your swadharma, remember me all the time, Lord says. That is called, then the swadharma which we perform, even the yuddha which, the fight you do, the work you do becomes a worship. Work is worship only when we remember Lord during the work. And understand that the work is only a samarpana, Ishwararpana. The Ishwararpana buddhi has to be there. That it is through worship, through work, I am worshipping the Lord and offering it to the Lord. With that bhavana, we should work. So therefore, we can perform swadharma, but continue to think of Lord. That's what Lord says here. So at the time of death, when Bharata talked of deer, he also assumed the next birth as of a deer. As he thinks, so it becomes so due to the good deeds done by him. However, due to the good deed done by him the previous birth, as a king and as a sage, the deer remembered his past birth, though he was bereft of speech and living in an animal body, Mriga Sharira. His mind was attuned and instinctively drawn to graze near the hermitages, where oblations were offered, and the assembly of sages who were chanting mantras and discussing about Upanishads. After completing the normal life of a deer, the deer died, and was next born as the youngest son of a rich Brahmin. And in that life also, he remembered all his past births and resolved not to get entangled in the bondages of samsara. The child, as it grew up, was strong and healthy, but would not speak a word, and lived as low as inert and as though insane. Hence the name Jada Bharata came. Jada means inert. The literal meaning of the word Jada means inert. So one who does not perform any action, who remains inert. And it could be also interpreted as dumb or foolish also. So he was attuned to the infinite always, and he lived as though for exhausting his prarabdha karma. In course of time, the father died, and the other sons seized his share of the property, and thinking that he was dumb and good for nothing, they took all the property away, and he was left all alone. They treated him in a very unkindly manner, insulted him, but he neither got vexed, nor had any fear, nor had any hatred towards them. This again reminds us of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, where the Lord says, the yogi is one who is adveshta sarvabhutanam, maitra karuna evacha, nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukka sukakshami, who has no hatred towards anybody, friendly towards everyone, no ahankara, no mamakara, and in all dukkha and sukha, equanimity of mind is maintained. The ninda and stuti, the praise and the insult, it takes it as equal. Aniketaha sthira bhaktihi bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Such a person is dear to me, the Lord says. So, Bharata, Yogishwara, though he was called as Jada Bharata, he was actually Yogishwara now. He led such a life of total detachment and universally loved everybody and had no hatred whatsoever. One day, Bharata left the house, seated himself under the shadow of a tree and rested. At that time, the king by the name of Rahuguna was passing by, carried in a palanquin on the shoulders of bearers. One of them fell ill, and so his attendants were looking for a person to replace him. They saw Bharata seated under a tree. As he was strong and young, they asked him to take the place of a sick man in bearing the king's palanquin. But Bharata did not reply, and king's servants forcibly placed the pole on his shoulders. However, Bharata could not maintain a steady pace with others. He was walking in an unsteady manner, as underneath there were worms moving around, and he didn't want to hurt those small worms, small insects. So in the process, the palanquin was violently tilting, and king's head also got hurt. Initially, king was calm and talked to him with a sense of humor, as though ridiculing him, saying that, mocking at him, saying that, oh person, you are old and lean, and you seem to be unable to carry, etc. Looking at the physical build of Jada Bharata. But when there was no response for the third time, the king, looking out of the palanquin, addressed him, "Hey, ho, fool," he called him as a fool, "rest a while. If the shoulders pain you or the shoulders pain thee, rest a while." Then Bharata, laying the pole of palanquin down, opened his lips for the first time in his life and replied to the king. The conversation between Bharata Yogishwara, he called his addressed as the Brahmana in Bhagavad Gita, and Rahuguna, they are depicted in 5th Skandam, chapters 11 to 13, which we will see in the next session. Bhave yata bhaktihi padayostava jayate tata kurshva devesha natastvam no yata prabho nama sankirtanam yasya sarvabhava pranasanam pranamo dukkasavanaha tam namami harim param. Narayana Akhila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Hari Om. Ya Devi Stuyade Nityam Vibhudair Veda Paragaihi Same Vasajihvagre Brahma Rupa Saraswati. Namami Narayana Padapankajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Namadharbalam Smarami Narayana Tattvamabhyam. Apara Karuna Sindhum Jnanatam Shantamurtinam Sri Chandrasekharendra Gurum Namami Mudanvaham. Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murtihi Puja Moolam Gurur Padam Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Moolam Gurur Kripa. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Vairappan, Mahapriyava and Guru Parampara, we are now continuing on the episode of Bharata Yogeshwara. In the last session, it was mentioned that Bharata Yogeshwara is called Jada Bharata, as he was holding down to one of the poles of the palanquin where a king was sitting, and as he was carrying, Jada Bharata looked 3 feet ahead, so that he should not step on the ants, and therefore, as a result of the pace of the walking was disturbed, and this caused the palanquin to shake. And the king was disturbed by this. And the king sarcastically talked to Jadabharata, holy young person, etc. And then said, there was no response for the term that the king looked out of the palanquin, addressed him, saying that, "O fool, rest a while. If your shoulders are paining, then please rest a while." Like that, the king made. When the king made such a remark, Jadabharata opened the lips for the first time and replied to the king's remark. So this conversation between the Brahmana, that is Jadabharata, and the king, Rahugana, they are depicted in detail in chapters 10 to 13 of 5th Skandam, Panchama Skanda of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. I will try to summarize that in this session. It's only a brief summary. So the Brahmin said, that is the Jadabharata said, whatever you have mentioned about me as strong or skinny or weak, old, aged, etc., they are all only relating to my body and mind, to the one born, and not the reality what I am originally. You have a narrow vision, confining yourself, which is discriminatory, and sees plurality as you are the king, and I am the others are the servant. The Brahmana then mentioned that he has taken this birth only to exhaust his karmas and is not affected by the afflictions of body or abuses or insults received from you, the king, or any other person, as they do not relate to him. The self-realized Jnani, the Atma, who is unaffected by all the sufferings of the body or the emotions of the mind. On hearing this, the king, who is the ruler of Sindhu and Saurava kingdom, realized that the person carrying this palanquin is a sage and a jnani. He therefore came down from his palanquin and prostrated before the king and to be pardoned for his offences. He then asked the Brahmana, who are you among the twice born, wearing a sacred thread, moving around in this world indifferently? From where and for what purpose you have come here? I do not fear Indra's thunderbolt, or Shiva's Shula trident, or Yamaraja, or even the sun, moon, wind, or the weapons of Kubera. My greatest fear is that I have offended the Brahmin. I would like to gain the knowledge from you and seek answers to doubts in my mind. Then the king raised a query saying, a very fundamental query saying, how do you say that you are not affected by the problems of the body? It's a worldly phenomenon. Like, due to the heat generated underneath a cooking pot, the milk in the pot is hot, and due to the heated milk, the hard kernel of rice is cooked. Similarly, the experiences of the senses and the physical body also bind a person in a similar manner, and he is subject to fatigue, hunger, thirst, or emotional reaction like anger, sadness, etc. So he, like the grain, is subject to the heat of the material world, the bondage caused by the sensual experiences of one's material existence. To this query, the Bharata Yogeshwara, the Brahmin, replied that the world and its phenomenon bind only the ignorant person. He started saying that you have raised a query as though that you are a very knowledgeable person, but the example you have given about the heat generated and the pot, the rice being cooked, they are all only at the Vyavaharika level, at the empirical level, and they do not relate to the absolute reality. The world and its phenomenon bind only the ignorant person who is bound by karma, who is attached to the body, and his mind is drawn outward in search of fulfilling material pursuits. It is the phenomenon of Maya Shakti which is apparent and binds the ignorant person, and the impure mind which experiences different activities of the living beings. Such a living entity is the breeding ground for all worldly miseries and pleasures. The Ahankara I and the Mamakara mind, which is due to ignorance of one's real nature, is the ultimate cause of all worldly bondage. This can be overcome through devotion at the feet of Lord, and consequently gaining knowledge of one's real nature as the absolute reality or Parabrahman, who is free from all limitations of time, space and object. Kala, Desha, Vastu, Aparichinnam. Continuing, Jadabrata said, O king, lacking in knowledge, you use the words as though you know the ultimate truth. Worldly experiences are at the lower order of reality and should not be mixed up with the higher order of reality. Use the word as Paramarthika Satyam as the absolute reality, Vyavaharika Satyam as the empirical reality. One who gets disconnected from the finite and gets connected to the infinite alone can understand the limitations of samsara and the power of absolute reality, which is the one all-pervading without a second. The 6 elements, such as 5 pranas, pancha prana, the Jnanendriyas, the 5 organs of knowledge, and Karmendriyas, the 5 organs of action. I am not detailing them because we have already covered earlier. And the mind. These constitute the 16 elements. Divide the ignorant person and drive the ignorant person in the world. And this is also makes him performing the actions and see himself as the doer. Although his real nature is that he is akarta. One recollects the observation of Krishna in verse number 27 of chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says, Prakritehe kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The Lord Krishna says, actions are performed in various ways by the limbs of Prakriti, means the body, mind and senses, but diluted by the I notion. One thinks, I am the doer. We should clearly understand that this guna is a particular modification or vikara, and meaning modification of Prakriti means by the mind, senses and the physical body. All this is called a Prakriti guna, and they are called as a Karya Karana Sangata. The physical body is the Karya cause, and the mind, senses and prana are the Karana. Physical body is the Karya, the effect, and mind, senses and prana are the Karana. So the assemblage Sankata, the physical body, mind and senses is called Guna. So all these actions are performed by these Prakriti Gunas, the physical limbs, mind and senses alone. And it is the Ahankara aspect which makes think that I am the doer, and the person thinks that I am the doer. But its original nature is Anatma. So the same aspect is talked about here also. So one is, therefore, he says, caught in the vicious circle of birth and death, bound by gunas, the living entity is conditioned. But when it transcends the gunas, he is free from all limitations. Like the wick of a lamp, while burning, produces smoke, and the same lamp, positioned properly, enjoys the clarified butter and burns brightly. The knower of oneself is pure awareness, which is self-luminous, Swaprakasha, and exists by his own light of awareness. He is also the transcendental Narayana, the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, Parabrahman. He is the one who, just like the air present within the body, by his own potency, exists as the ultimate controller of sentient and insentient beings, Jada Chetana. One who is thus free from this illusion conquers false ego, the ego which is apparent, which appears to be as though covering the limitless and absolute reality. Thus, when a human being, with the help of a sword of knowledge, severs the worldly bondage, he, living in this world, can completely detach himself from the bewildering experiences of the world. This is not a dialogue. This is not a discussion. This is sambada. It is considered to be the discussion, the dialogue between the Guru and the Shishya. Here, the Jadabharata, the Bharata Yogeshwara is the Guru, and Lord, and the King is the Shishya. So, by thus listening to the glories of the Lord and contemplating the higher self, the Guru says his ignorance is removed, and he gets liberated or gains sahajyam or union with the Lord. He said, the self, Jadabharata once more said, understand that the self, when you said you are tired, the self was never tired, self was never weak, never before the pole of palanquin which I carry, for the self is omnipotent and omnipresent, and it is all pervading. So the king, after gaining this knowledge, fell at the feet of Bharata and said, I ask thy pardon, O mighty one. I did not know that thou or you were a sage when I asked you to carry me. And Bharata blessed him and departed. Bharata Yogeshwara, as Jivan Mukta, liberated while alive, when he left the body, he became a Videha Mukta, freed forever from the bondage of samsara, birth and death cycle. The verses 10 to 15 are briefly summarized by me within their time frame, but it is very elaborately covered in the Bhagavatam, chapter 10 to verses 13, chapters 10 to chapter 13 of Panchamaskanda of Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll move on to the next verse in the coming session. Bhave bhave yatha bhaktihi padayostava jayade tada kurushva devesha natastum nojata prabhu nama sankirtanam yasya sarvapapa pranasanam pranamo dukkha samanaha tam namami harim param. Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Hari Om. Ya Devi Stuyade Nityam Vibudhair Veda Paragaihi Same Vasat Jikhvagre Brahmaruba Saraswati. Mami Narayana Padapankajam Karumi Narayana Pujanam Sada Adami Narayana Namadharmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvaviyam. Apara Karna Sintum Jnanadam Shantarubinam Sri Chandrasekharendra Gurum Namami Bhudanbham. Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Padam Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. Invoking the grace of Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayappan, Mahapariva and Guru Parampara. We are now on Dasakam 20, completed in the last session the Sambada between Brahmana and Rahugana. We have used the word Sambada. We should understand a little more detail. There are two words, either one is called Vada, another called Sambada. Vada is always a discussion amongst the equals, where there is exchange of information, and this may not be always fruitful. As long as one has open belief, any discussion can lead to knowledge, but it is always discussion amongst the equals, whereas Sambada is a dialogue between the Guru and the Shishya, the teacher and the student, where the teacher removes the ignorance of the student, and so in the process knowledge is imparted. So therefore the Sambada is always a fruitful thing culminating in knowledge, unlike Vada, which may be useful, but it may also can lead to arguments. So here we have the Sambada, we saw the Sambada between the King Rajugana and the Brahmana Bharata Yogeshwara. We have similar kinds of Samvada also in Bhagavatam, like Shuka Brahma and Parikshit, or the Vidura Maitra Samvada, or between Krishna and Uddhava, or we have also the Samvada which is between the Yadu Maharaja, who is the grandson of Nahusha and the son of Yayati, and Dattatreya, Avadhuta Sannyasi. In fact, this Samvada between Brahmana, Jadabharata and Rahuguna is similar to the Samvada between the Yadu and Avadhuta Sannyasi, Brahmana. There also is called Dattatreya, is called the Brahmana, coming in the Hamsa Gita. Now, the Bhattatripada had not covered this in this Narayaniam. However, the Upanyasa Chakravarti Brahmashri Anantaram Dikshitar, who has his Samadhistha in Shalem, had compiled 3 dashakam on the Jadabharata Charitra. It is called as Sri Narayaniya Stotra Anusari Sri Jadabharata Charitram. It comprises, there are 3 dashakas are there, and the first dashaka is, there are 14 verses are there, and the second dashaka 12 are there, and the third 12 dashakas are there. Bhattatripada probably would not have referred to Jadabharata because in the coming verses 9 and 10th of this 20th, he is making about the Rishabha Yogeshwara Charitra, whose lifestyle also resembled the Jadabharata Yogeshwara. And probably he thought that to avoid repetition, he skipped over the Jadabharata Charitra. And perhaps the Guruyappan wanted that Anantaram Dikshitar, who is also an avatar of Bhattatripada only, to complete this exercise of compiling these 3 dashakas in detail in Narayaniyam. In fact, Anantaram Dikshitar and Bhattatripada are placed together in Guruvayur temple. You can see also in the portrait there. And therefore, this could be seen also as part of the Narayaniya chanting. And if it is possible, one could also chant these 3 dashaka along with the Narayaniyam immediately after chanting dashaka 10. I will try to place this recording chanting also in the YouTube after completion of this dashaka. In the conclusion, the last Anuvaka, the 3rd dashakam, the last sloka, Bhattatripada confirms that this is part of Narayaniya by saying that Sri Bhattapadarachita Stutavyaha Pritistavanubhun Marutalayesha Anantaramena Maya Kritebi Stotre cha Jayeta Kuru Prasadham. The meaning is that O Vataleyasha, O Guruvayurappa, as you experience fulfillment in the stotras compiled by Bhattatripada, so also may you shower the same degree of love and blessing and gain the same degree of fulfillment in these stotras compiled by me, Anantarama, and bless me. That is the meaning of this verse. With this, now we will go on now to the verse number 9 of Dasakam 20. Paratma bhutopi paropadesham kurvan bhavan sarva nirasyamanaha vikarahino vichachara krishna mahi mahinat marasabhilinaha. Anvaya paratma bhutopi paropadesham kurvan bhavan sarva nirasyamanaha vikarahino vichachara krishna mahi mahinatmarasabhilinaha. Anvaya bhavan paratma bhutaha api paropadesham kurvan sarva nirasyamanaha vikarahinaha ahinatmarasabhilinaha krishnam mahim vichachara. Bhavan, thou, paratma bhutaha api, thou having realized thy identity with the Supreme Self or Paramatman, Paropadesham Kurvan, giving instructions about Brahman to others, Sarva Nirasya Manaha, though treated with indifference by all, Vikarahinaha, free from attachment, aversions, etc., or any modifications. Ahinatma Rasabilinaha. The Vyutpati will be Ahinatma Rase Paramanandhanubhave Abhilinaha. Abhilinaha means completely absorbed in Paramananda Bhuve, in the Ananda or the bliss of the Supreme Self. Ahinatmarase, Atmarasaha means in the absorbed in the Atmarasa, the Self. Paramananda Bhuve, Self. The Self is which is in the form of Ananda. That's what is mentioned about. Krishna Mahim, all over the earth, Vichachara, did wander. Thou, though did realize thy identity with the Brahman, thou did continue to impart knowledge to others. Thou treated with indifference by all, were free from attachment, aversion, etc., and did wander all over the earth, completely absorbed in the bliss of the Supreme Self. Here, the Rishabha Yogeshwara, as we have said, himself is an avatar of Lord Vishnu. How he conducted himself in this avatar is being talked about here. It is mentioned here that Rishabha himself is the Paramatma Swarupa. He is the one who is Ekaki, one with himself, and he is Ekaha, the Parabrahman. And himself now, as the Avadhuta, moved around the world, imparting knowledge to others. The lifestyle of a sannyasi is to give knowledge, share the knowledge with others, and that is being talked about here. Also himself absorbed in the Brahmananda. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita which says, Brahmabit Brahmanistitaha. A Sthita Prajna is one, a knower of the Brahman. He is always established in Brahman. He does not see himself as separate from him. So whenever he moves around the world also, what he sees or everything as Sarvam Brahmamayam, and therefore he experiences Ananda, which is the Swarupa of the Brahman. That is what he is talking about here. Knower of Brahman being established in Brahman, and says Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also. He has been not treated, may not be looked upon with respect by the world, but such a yogi, he is a yogi, because a yogi is one who is always connected to the infinite. Such a yogi is not affected by what the world thinks or looks about him. So he is totally indifferent. He is not at all bothered about the responses from the world. He does what is to be done. Because he is always connected to the infinite, he is always fulfilled, he is always Ananda, and himself the Lord of all the three worlds. As yogi, he was connected to infinite and therefore totally also detached. No aversions, no attachments, and therefore no reactions which are negative in nature, unlike an ordinary human being. With the tapas born out of austerity, he spread that knowledge to all the disciples. These things are talked about there, and he led the life of what is called a Jivan Mukta, liberated by living with no Deha Abhimana whatsoever. That is what he is talking about, and therefore he wandered all over the earth, completely absorbed in the Atmananda. He is Atma Rama, bliss in the Supreme Self, the Ananda of the Supreme Self. That is what is talked about here. This is the lifestyle of a yogi. And we will notice here also that while talking about the lifestyle of Jarabharata Yogeshwara, he also had a similar lifestyle, that he moved around without bothering about the body and not bothered about what others say, and finally imparted that knowledge, Brahma Vidya, to Rahugana. So similar thing is talked about here also, that the Rishabha Yogeshwara also wanted about giving Brahma knowledge to others, and himself always was absorbed in the Brahman. We'll move on to the verse number 10 in the next session. Bhave bhave yatha bhaktihi padayostava jayate tata kurusha devesha natastvam no yata prabhu nama sankirtanam yasya sarva bhava pranasanam pranamo dukkha samanaha tam namami harim param. Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Hari Om. Ya Devi Stuyade Nityam Vibhuder Veda Parakaihi Same Vasat Jihvagre Brahmarupa Saraswati. Namami Narayana Pata Pankajam Karomi Narayana Pujanam Sada Vadami Narayana Namanirmalam Smarami Narayana Tattvam Abhyayam. Apara Karuna Sindhum Jnanadam Shantam Murtinam Sri Chandrasekharendra Gurum Namami Mudanbham. Dhyanam Moolam Gurur Murtihi, Puja Moolam Gurur Padam, Mandram Moolam Gurur Vakyam, Moksha Moolam Gurur Kripa. Invoking the grace of Vagdevi, Goddess Saraswati, Guru Ayappan, Mahapriyava, we are now coming to the concluding verse number 10 of Dasakam number 20. Shayuvratam Gomrika Kakacharyam Chiram Charannapya Param Swarupam Davahritankaha Kutakachale Tvam Tapan Mamapa Kuruvatanatha. Shayuvratam Gomrika Kakacharyam Chiram Charannapya Param Swarupam Davahritanga Kutakachale Tvam Tapan Mamapa Kuruvatanatha. Anvaya. Shayubratam Gomrika Kakacharyam Chiram Charan Param Swarupam Apya Kutakachale Davahritanga He Vatanatha Tvam Mama Tapan Apakuru. Shayubratam, the way of life of the python. Go Mriga Kakacharya, and of the cow, that is Go Mriga, deer. Mriga is deer, Go is cow. Go Mriga, cow, deer, and Kaka, and the crow. Chiram Charan, practicing for a long time. Param Surupam Apya, attaining oneness with the Brahman, the Supreme Brahman. Kutakachale, in the Kurg mountain. Davahritangaha, thy body was consumed by a forest fire. He Vatanatha, O Lord of Guruvayur, Tvam, thou, Mama Tapan, my afflictions, Apakuru, eradicate. Practicing for a long time or following the lifestyle of the python, the cow, the deer, and the crow, and attaining identity with the Supreme Brahman, Paramatman, thy body was consumed by a forest fire in the Kurg mountain. O Lord of Guruvayur, extend your grace to eradicate me from my all afflictions. In this verse is the concluding verse. Continuing from verse number 9, here is mentioned that Rishabha Yogeshwara was leading a life of total recluse, a sannyasi, renunciate, and therefore he was adapting himself to the lifestyle of a four things are talked about: the python, the cow, the deer, and the crow. The python is the big snake. It is also called Ajagara, that which can swallow the goat. It's also called python. Its uniqueness is that it stays at one place and does not go in search of food, but eat only what comes to it. It's a very unique feature of the python. So he was following the lifestyle of the python. That means himself as a sannyasi, as a bhikshu, not going after food, because a sannyasi is supposed to adopt the lifestyle of a renunciate, so he should accept what comes and not go after. In this connection, the Ekadasha Skanda also, the Brahmana, that is Dattatreya, also was giving Upadesha to Yadu Maharaj, the king, and those verses are also worth recollecting, where he says in that Ekadasha Skanda, Grasam Sumrishtam Virasam Mahantam Stokamevava Yadirchaya Eva Patitam Grased Ajagaro Akriyaha. Ajagara is the same as here what is called as the Shayu. Shayu and Ajagara means the big snake. The python is considered to be a big, as much as 30 feet long it is, and a very open big mouth. So it says grasam, whether the food is morsel, small, sumrishtam, sumptuous, virasam, devoid of taste. So it could be delicious or insipid, it could be sumptuous or scanty. Mahantam stokam eva, the food which is sumptuous or which is grasam. Immaterial of what the food is, the sage, Mahanta means the sage, who lives a python's life. Ajagara means the python. Akriyaha, without exerting, without working for it. Yadirchaya eva apaditam, should take just what comes of oneself. There are two types of vritti generally talk about here. Ajagara vritti and Madhukara vritti. In Ajagara vritti, the person does not go out. He stays at one place and whatever comes to him, he takes. In the case of Madhukara vritti, the Madhu is the bee. The bee goes from one flower to another flower and takes honey. So Madhukara vritti is the person goes from one place to another. Generally the Bhikshukas, they do that. Particularly Grihastha, when they do the Vincha vritti and all, they go from one place to another. So that vritti is called Madhukara vritti. Whereas here, Ajagara vritti, the person stays at one place and takes what comes to him without moving out. So it says that whatever may be the food, the sage lives a python's life, which does not move around. And it's another sloka also is talk about Shayitahani Bhurini Niraharo Anubakramaha Yadi Nopanamed Graso Maha Hiriva Drishtabug. Here again, Maha Ahi means the same. Python is talked about. Maha Hiriva Drishtabug means he should lie many days without food and without exertion. And if no food presents itself, then like the great python, he should abide by what destiny gives. And the third verse also talks about Ojas Saho Balayutam Bibrat Dehama Karmakam Shayano Vita Nidrasya Nahete Indriyavanapi. Holding still the body, Bibrad Deham, endowed with Ojaha, energy, Sahaha, fortitude, and Balam, strength. He should lie wide awake. Vita Nidrasya Shayanaha. Lie Vita Nidrasya. Even while sleeping, you should be awake. Jagrat. And Akarmakam, not exert. Even though Atha Indriyavanapi means he is having all the organs intact. Indriyavanapi. Nahete means the Indriyans organs are still strong. Still you should not exert. That's what it means. The efficiency of the organs, the mind and the physical body are talked about. Even possessed of full vigor, the sage should not exert for food. He should be wide awake means here with his mind intent upon the Parabrahman. That is what here the Shabda Yogeshwar also was in. He was leading this lifestyle of the python, cow, deer and crow, but always with the attaining identity with the Supreme Brahman. So it's talked about here. Now the reference to the cow, the deer and the crow also should be seen allegorically, like that the cow, deer, crow, etc., they are all indifferent to whatever happens, whether good or bad. The cows, they move around within the country limits, leading a life of renunciation. then the deer always moves around in the forest. And the crow is one which moves within that country or within that city limit or town limit, and also outside the town, that means in the forest. They move from time to time. So like the deer, like the cow means here, the crow means he was moving around within the country, within the city, within the town. He was also moving outside in the forest also, and more later more in the forest. That's what talked about here. That the acharan moving around like that. So like cow, deer, crow, etc. He was indifferent to all happenings. He was not affected by the thing. He was devoid of any particular dharma which is applicable for other ashramas, and he was living a lifestyle of total renunciate and always attuned to the infinite, and never bothered about the body. That is what is talked about here. And thus leading the life, finally he became a videha mukta. The body was consumed by a forest fire. The mountain it is called Katakachana. That is the mountain. Katakachana is the Kurg mountain. The body was consumed by that. That means such a person has no attachment to the body. So as a videha mukta, he casts off the body, and it was consumed in the forest fire, it is said. The imagery is given to mention that the body may be subject to maximum afflictions, but the yogi is not affected because he is always connected to the infinite, and therefore he is ready to abandon the body even in the hard manner. It is believed that this mountain, Katakachara, Kurg mountain, is adjacent to Mugabhiga temple. Thus he abandoned his body and attained identity with the Supreme Brahman. Bhattatripada, in this say, as a snake leaves his cast-off skin, the renunciate also, he left home, family, etc. Is what the Shankara says in the Satasloki. There is sloka there. Here also, the Sabha Yogeshwara led that life. So he and finally attained identity with the unity, merged with the Brahman, or gained oneness with the Brahman, the Para-Brahman. That's how this Dasakam concludes. And Bhattatripada also extends his prayer to Lord Guru Ayappa and says, O Lord of Guruvayur, eradicate me from my all threefold afflictions and extend your grace to me. And like Darshabha Yogeshwara, may also lead that life of a total renunciate towards the end of my life. That is implied here. We'll move on to the next Dasaka 21 in the next session. Bhave yada bhaktihi padayosthavajayade tata kurusha devesha natastvam nojada prabhu nama sankirtanam yasya sarva bhava pranasanam pranamo dukkha samanaha tam namami harim param. Narayana akila guru bhagavan namaste. Hari Om. Namami Narayana padapankajam karomi Narayana pujanam sada vadami Narayana namanirmalam smarami Narayana tattvam abhyayam. As mentioned in my earlier Narayanam talks, Brahmashri Anandaram Dikshidhar has composed 3 dasakams on Jadabharita Charitram, which also could be seen as part of the Narayaniyam, because Bhattatripada had not referred to Jadabharita Charitram in his compositions. And therefore, Brahmashri Anandaram Dikshidhar has composed in detail 3 dasakams. The first dasakam comprising 14 slokas, second and third comprising 12 slokas. This is a complete set of the history charita of the Jadabharata. This could be chanted as forming part of the Narayaniyam. It is more appropriate and befitting that this is chanted as part of the Narayaniyam Parayanam after completing 20th dasakam chanting. So after completing the 20th dasakam, this could be chanted as part of Narayaniyam before proceeding to the 21st dasakam of Bhattatripada. Now I will be doing the Parayanam slowly. Sri Narayaniya Stotranusari Sri Jadabharata Charitram Pratama Dashakam Tadbhaktavaryo Bharato Mahatma Nikshipya Rajyam Tanayeshva Saktaha स गण्डकीतीरमवाप राजा त्वत्पूजनार्थं पुलहाश्रमं हि तत्रापि स त्वां तुलसीभिरीशं कृष्णं समर्चन् गुरुवातनाथ ध्यायन् प्रपञ्चं भवदङ्गभूतं निनाय कालं प्रणवं जपंश्च यज्ञेश गोविन्द हृषीकनाथ हे अनंत कृष्णाच्युत माधवेति स्वप्नेऽपि राजा भवदीय नाम अन्यानराधं संकतयन्ननाम स्वप्नेऽपि राजा भवदीय नामानि अनारतं संकतयन्ननाम किरीटिनं कुण्डलिनं गदाब्ज शङ्कारिपाणिं नवनीरदामं कुन्दामदन्तं कमनीयगात्रं पीताम्बरं त्वां मनसा स्मरत्सः मन्दारमाला परिवीतकण्ठं मनोहरं मञ्जुलभाषणं त्वां दिव्योर्ध्वपुण्ड्रं बहुरत्नभूषं मुक्तादिहारं मनसा स्मरत्सः नदीतटेऽस्मिन् जपतः कदाचित् ऋषाकुला गाद्धरिणी सगर्भा तया हरे वारिणि पीयमाने जगर्जसिह्यो जनयन् सुभीतिं भीत्या मृगीसा सहसोत्पतन्ती पपात गुल्मेथ ममार विष्णो बालं मृगं योनिविनिसृतं तं जग्राह राजा कृपया जलोढं मात्राविहीनं परिपालयन् सः त्वत्पूजनाद्दृष्टमना बभूव प्राप्तेऽन्तकाले सुतवदुदन्तं पश्यन् मृगं प्राप मृगस्य जन्म मात्राविहीनं परिपालयन् सः त्वत्पूजनाद् भ्रष्टमना बभूव प्राप्तेऽन्तकाले स्तुवदद्रुदन्तं पश्यन् मृगं प्राप मृगस्य जन्म प्राप्तो मृगत्वं पुलहाश्रमेऽस्मिन् कालञ्चराधेत्य चचार भूयः शृण्वन् समाजे च कथां मृगत्वं त्यजन्तदोचे भवदीय नाम हास्यन् मृगत्वं भरतो महात्मा भीतस्तु संगान् मनसा स्मरंस्त्वां जले स्थितः सन् हरये नमस्ते नारायणायेति जगादचोच्चैः ततो महाभागवतो महात्मा राजर्षिवर्यो भरतस्तु जातः विप्रान् भवाये भवतः स्वरूपं ध्यायन् जडोन्मत्तबदासलोके अनावृतांगो हिमवातवर्षो स्वतीव पीत्वा पीवा मलिनैकवस्त्रः once again अनावृतांगो हिमवातगर्षेषु अतीव पीवा मलिनैकवस्त्रः यदृच्छया याचनतोऽपि लब्धम् अस्नन् सदा त्वां मनसा स्मरत्सः श्रीभद्रकाल्यै भवदङ्घ्रिभक्तं बलिं प्रदातुं यतते स्म चोरः दुष्टस्य सानुचरस्य देवी शिरांसि चिच्छेदमहासिना तदा त्वत्पादभक्तं गुरुवातनाथ को वा निहन्तुं प्रभवेत्परात्मन् मां पाहि कारुण्यनिधे हरे त्वं त्वद्भक्तवर्यं कुरु मारुतेश। प्रथमदशकं समाप्तम्। अथ द्वितीयदशकम्। अथेक्षुमत्यास्तु तटे महान्तं सौवीरसिन्धोरतिपः समागात् त्वद्ध्यानपूतं जडविप्रमेनं स्वयानवाहं तरसा चकार हिंसादिहीनस्य मुनेष्वदृष्ट्या पूते हि देशे चरणप्रवृत्तिः इत्थं गतेऽस्मिन् शिबिका चचाल मुक्ताय विष्णो कुपितो नृपोऽभूत् भ्रातर्न पीवा न युवा जरावान् अध्वानमेको वहसे हि दीर्घं चिरं न चेमे शिबिकां वहन्तीति उवाच राजा भवदङ्घ्रिभक्तम् इत्यादि वक्त्रोक्तिभिः अर्धितोऽपि गर्वेण राज्ञा बहुधा स विप्रः देहे ममत्वाद्यभिमानशून्यः त्वां संस्मरन्नोत्तरमाह किञ्चित् पुनश्च याने विषमं गतेऽसौ जीवन्मृतो मामवमन्यसे त्वं भजिष्यसे त्वं प्रकृतिं यथा स्वां कुर्यां तथेदि न्यगदीत्वधीयं स्थौल्यं कृशत्वं च रुचादयोऽन्ये देहेन जातस्य हिते भवन्ति मानेन शून्यस्य न सन्ति राजन् इत्याह योगी त्वयि बद्धभावः देहो मयायं बहुशिक्षितोऽस्ति पुनश्च शिक्षा यदि पिष्टपेशः स्थितोऽस्म्यहं स्वप्रकृतौ हि राजन् इत्यब्रवीत्तं गुरुवातनाथ श्रुत्वा तु राजा बहुयोगशास्त्र सारं महत्सत्त्वरयावरुह्य तत्पादमूले निपपात भक्त्या क्षमापयन् त्वच्चरणैकचित्तम् कस्त्वं महात्मन् सरसीह गूढः ब्रह्मं स्तवांसे किल यज्ञसूत्रं प्रदृश्यते होख्यवधूतमध्ये इत्यब्रवीत्तं गुरुवाथनाथ अध्वा च भारश्च तथैव गन्ता सर्वं तु मिथ्येति किल त्वयोक्तं जलस्य पानेन गता तृषा हि कथं भवेदित्यवदद्धरेऽसौ कथन्नु राजन् व्यवहारमेनं तत्त्वेन तुल्यं वदसि ह्यतज्ञः देवादिजन्मानि तु चेतसा स्युः इत्याह विप्रो गुरुवाथनाथ भ्रातृव्यमेतन्मन एव राजन् सेवासिना सद्गुरुपादयोस्तत् छिन्दीत्युवाचाथ रघुगणं सह मां पाहि रोगान् मरुदालयेश। द्वितीयदशकं समाप्तम्। अथ तृतीयदशकम्। प्रणम्य राजा जडविप्रमेनं पुनश्च पप्रच्छ मरुत्पुरेश नष्टो विवेको मृततुल्यवाचा तथापि दृश्यं कथमित्यसत्यं संसारमिथ्यात्वमथोपदिश्य प्रपञ्चमिथ्यात्वमुपादिशस्सः त्वद्रूपनिष्ठो भवतः स्वरूपं सर्वत्र पश्ये अविनश्वरं यत् चरन् पृथिव्यां तव भृत्यवर्गः सन्दृश्यते स्यापि पदादिकानि हंसोढयानस्तरहुगणादि सर्वं तु दृश्यं ह्यसदाह विष्णो पिण्डस्वहेतौ पृथिवीतले हि पृथ्वीस्वहेतौ परमाणुसंज्ञे अज्ञानक्लिप्तः स च मारुतेश त्वय्येव चारोपित इत्युवाच आरोपिता हिस्तु यथा विनश्येत् दीपेन रज्जौ तमसा प्रतीतः ज्ञानेन चाद्यस्तजगच्च नश्येत् त्वमेव भासीत्यवदत्स राज्ञे श्रीशङ्खचक्राब्जगदाकिरीट हरि भवान् मङ्गलमङ्गलेशः श्रीवासुदेवस्तु सदा सपूर्णः ज्ञानात्मनास्तीत्यवदत्स भूपम्। श्रीवासुदेवस्तु जगत्समस्तं ज्ञानं हरे सत्यमिति न्यगादीत् एतच्च नाप्नोति मखादिनापि विना महत् पादरजोऽभिषेकम्। अहं पुरासं भरताख्यभूपः विसृज्य राज्यं हरिपूजनार्थं वनं गतस्तत्र मृगत्वमापम् इत्याह भूपं स च मारुतेश। कृष्णार्चनेन स्मृतिरस्ति मेद्य पुरा मृगत्वेऽपि तदा न नष्टा। भीतस्तु सङ्घाद् विवराभिराजन् इत्यब्रवीन् मारुतमन्दिरेश। ततस्तु राजा जडविप्रमेनं स्तुत्वा च नत्वा च मरुत्पुरेश। मुहूर्तमात्रेण तवाद्यसङ्गान् मोहः प्रणष्टस्त्विति चाब्रवीत्सः। रघुगणोऽयं जडविप्रसङ्गाद् विनष्टदुःखो भवदात् विद्यः। किं किं न कुर्यान् महतस्तु सङ्गः मां पाहि रोगान् मरुदालयेश। श्रीभट्टपादारचितस्तुतौ या प्रीतिस्तवा भून् मरुदालयेश। अनन्तरामेण मया कृतेऽपि स्तोत्रे च जायेत कुरु प्रसादम्। श्रीनारायणीय स्तोत्रानुसारिणि श्री जडभरितचरित्रे तृतीयदशकं समाप्तम्। भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नातस्त्वं नो यत प्रभो। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामदुःखहरणं प्रणमामि हरीश्वरम्। नारायण अखिल गुरु भगवन् नमस्ते।
राधे कृष्ण।
हरि ओम्।
गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्द गोविन्द. Chanting of the 20th Dashakam of Narayaniam. Priyavratasya Priyaputrabhutat Agnidrarajat Udito Hinabhihi Tvam Drishtavanishtadamishti Madhye Tavaiva Tushyai Kritayajna Karma Abhishtutastatra Munishwaraistvam राज्ञा स्वतुल्यं सुतमर्त्यमानः स्वयं जनिष्येऽहमिति ब्रुवाणः तिरोधधा बर्हिषि विश्वमूर्ते नाभिप्रियायाम् अथ मेरुदेव्यां त्वमंशतो भूर्ऋषभाभिधानः अलोकसामान्यगुणप्रभाव प्रभाविता शेषजनप्रमोदः त्वयि त्रिलोकी भृतिराज्यभारं निधाय नाभे सह मेरुदेव्यां तपोवनं प्राप्य भवन्निषेवी गतः किलानन्दपदं पदं ते इन्द्रस्वदुत्कर्षकृताधमर्षात् ववर्षनास्मिन् अजना भवर्षे यथा तथा त्वं निजयोगशक्त्या स्ववर्षमेनत् व्यदधाः सुवर्षं जितेन्द्रदत्तां कमनीं जयन्तीम् अतोद्वहन्नात्मरताशयोऽपि अजीजनस्तत्र शतं तनूजान् येषां क्षितीशो भरतोऽग्रजन्मा न वा भवन् योगिवरा न वान्ये त्वपालयन् भारतवर्षखण्डान् सैखा त्वशीतिस्तव शेषपुत्राः तपोबलात् भूसुरभूयमीयुः उक्त्वा सुतेभ्योऽथ मुनीन्द्रमध्ये विरक्तिभक्त्यान्वितमुक्तिमार्गं स्वयं गतः पारमहंस्यवृत्तिम् अधा जटोन्मत्तपिशाचचर्यां परात्मभूतोऽपि परोपदेशं कुर्वन् भवान् सर्वनिरस्यमानः विकारहीनो विचचार कृष्णां महीमहीनात्मरसाभिलीनः शयुव्रतं गोमृगकाकचर्यां चिरं चरन्नाप्यपरं स्वरूपं दवाहृताङ्गः कुटकाचले त्वं तापान् ममापाकुरुवाथ नाथ। गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्द गोविन्द। राधे कृष्ण।